Today we're starting our review for the final, so you've got your packet in front of you that says HPC, Spring Semester Final Review. Nominate a question, and if another kid seconds you and says, yeah, I'd like to see how to do that kind, I will do a problem like it. I'm not going to do the exact problem from the packet. You've got a key for that, and you need to practice, so I'll do one like it. Nomination? Yes.
Find the area of...
Oh, wait, which problem is it? We all have the same packet.
Number 3.
Number 3. Everybody look at number 3. Can anybody second that one as like, I can't remember the formula for that? Quite a few people. All right, so here's another one that's like a little simpler, but if it was a right triangle, wouldn't it be easy to find the area of the triangle? Okay, so it's obviously not that. So let's say it's not. Let's say it's a 3, 4, and instead of 5, as soon as I change that to 6, you know it's not right anymore. You know what I mean? This is not a right angle. It must be bigger than a right angle. So how would you find a 3, 4, 6 triangle's area? Because it's not a right triangle. You can't go base times height divided by 2. Well, here's 2 ways. Number 1 way, everybody please write this problem down. And I know you may need to get out your iPad and get a Notability doc. I want you to do a practice problem with me. And I know some of you are distracted by corrections on your tests. Stop that. You're going to come back to those in a minute. Blank Notability doc right now. Cell phones go away. Full attention. This isn't going to last long during the hour. All right. So there's 2 formulas that you need to know. One is the one with semi-perimeter. Okay, you may have forgotten this one. You may want to write it down. This might be listed on a list of formulas somewhere, but it might not either. Just like the law of cosines and sines, you have to memorize those. Here's one I would have memorized. I'm going to give you 2 ways to do it. Area is equal to 1/2 AB sine of big C. But you might be like, but Mr. Server, we don't have any of the angles. You're right, we don't have any of the angles, but we could get one. How could you get one of the angles for it? From using a different formula, which would be law of what? Cosines. A squared plus B squared minus 2AB cosine of big C. Okay, now that's a way, but do you get how it involves a 16-part formula just to get one of the angles? You could pick this to be A and this to be B. If I was doing it in this problem, I would do that. I want to call this one C, which means this is C. And I could find that angle, and it wouldn't be that hard. I'd use this formula, and all of that equals C squared. That is a formula that you could solve to find angle C. Okay? All right. Then you could use this formula, 1/2 AB sine of C. And you already know A and B. That'd be easy. You just have to find C, and you could do it. But there's a second way you could do it, and it involves the semi-perimeter. The area of the triangle is equal to the square root of the semi-perimeter times the semi-perimeter minus A, semi-perimeter minus B, and can anybody finish it? Come on. You haven't caught on yet? You had this formula, you had it on a test. It was within the last couple months. Yes?
S minus C.
S minus C. So it's S minus A, S minus B, and S minus C. And you do have to start with an S. That's an easy one to forget. Okay, so now what the heck is S? It's the semi-perimeter. So how do you get the semi-perimeter? It's half of the normal perimeter. Well, this thing's perimeter is 6 and 4 makes 10 plus 3 is 13. 13 is the perimeter. So it's 13 over 2 is the semi-perimeter. What's half of 13? 6.5. So our semi-perimeter is 6.5. And then you'd go 6.5 minus 6, 6.5 minus 3, and 6.5 minus 4. And it doesn't matter what order you do those in, so I'm just going to do it in any order. And it's the square root of all that. Whew. It's honors pre-cap. It's not supposed to be easy. But if you know the formula, then it's actually pretty easy. You just have to find half of the perimeter and then follow a formula. Okay, that'll help you with number 3. other nominations from the packet. I'm not like gonna do all of them, so just be selective. Like, ooh, this one is, I know it's important and I'm really stuck. Like, ask, don't be shy. I wanna do 2 or 3 more questions before we're done today. Yes? Everybody, please flip to problem 9 and see if you circled that one. Anybody else want a second problem 9? All right, I would just give you a 2-second reminder then. You'd start with 8 revolutions for 1 minute. That's the start of the problem. And then you got to figure out what 1 revolution is, and you put it down here. Why? Think about that, because you want this to cancel, right? And so what is 1 revolution? 1 revolution is however far you go, which is a circumference. And then you got to know the circumference formula. Circumference is pi times the diameter, and that'll help you figure out what to put here. And make sure you always have units on everything, because once revolutions cancels, you'd have nothing on the top. You need a unit here. All right, so there's my tip for that one. All right, who's got another one to nominate that hopefully will get seconded? Yes?
14.
Everybody look at problem 14. If that's one that you would like to see, please raise your hand. Multiple people hit on problem 14, so I'm going to do one like it. Would everybody please write this down? I'm going to do if sine of beta is 1/2 and cosine of of theta is adjacent over hypotenuse 1/√2. Okay, if that was in quadrant 1, I know you're like, but that's not the problem. I know, it'll be different than this, but this is a hint, and this is a lot like it. So everybody try this one with me. Where do I go? Well, it says quadrant 1, so I obviously have to go to quadrant 1. But I still would draw all that other stuff, and I would also put ASTC around it just to make sure that you know that all students take calc, and that's a reminder that all of them are positive in the first quadrant. Sine is positive over here, tangent's positive over here, and cosine's positive over here. But this is the only place where sine and cosine are both positive. Okay, so now I draw my triangle. And within that quadrant, the beta triangle, this one, has the opposite and the hypotenuse, and this must be square root of 3. Oh, I remember this one. The one across from the 1 here is 30 degrees, aka pi over 6. Do you get I just figured out the beta is pi over 6? Do that same exact thing for cosine, except you'll have to make a different triangle. You still do it in quadrant 1. But for cosine, make yourself a triangle here. Figure out what theta has to be. And then, somewhere on the sheet is cosine of beta plus theta. You've got that sheet that comes with this review packet. Oh my gosh, it's not actually attached. I'm surprised. It's going to be on your iPad. I'll tell you where you can find that sheet in a moment. But one thing at a time. Cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. Ooh, yeah, I know this one. 1/√2. How many of you knew that we were talking about an angle theta, which would be pi over 4? Raise your hand if you knew that was pi over 4. Awesome. Okay, now do you get, I know both of my key angles. Then what you're really supposed to find is cosine of beta plus theta. Remember, I'm not doing the problem in your packet. You have to do the problem in your packet. And to do this, I know you might be like, but I can't tell what the angles are. You don't need the angles. You copy this out of your packet, which again, I'll show you where it is in a second, and you'll need cosine of the angle and sine of the angle. And so once you've drawn your little triangles with numbering your sides, you don't even care what the angle is anymore. You just want cosine of the angle or sine of the angle. All right, so if I was going to do cosine of this plus this, I'd look it up. So let me show you where that is. Go into Schoology right now and look for the folder for today's date. So would everybody please find the S2 semester final formula sheet. We're saving just a little bit of paper and having you look at your iPad for that. Besides, it's kind of nice to have it on a separate document. You don't have to tear it off the back and all that. So would you please now look up cosine of two things added? It's on the sheet. I'm going to call on a lucky random person. Look on the sheet and find cosine of something plus something. Jackson, what did you get for cosine of something plus something?
Cosine x times cosine y.
Okay, but let's change it to beta and theta because that's what our problem had. So cosine of,
Cosine beta times cosine theta.
and since this is plus, cosine is always the opposite of that, I think. Is it minus?
Yeah, it's minus
Excellent. And then,
sine beta and then sine theta.
at least we don't make you memorize that. Now you have to figure out what's beta. Well, that was this one. This picture here was the beta picture. This picture here was the theta picture. So if you need cosine of beta, you go here and you cosine of that. And it's root 3 over 2. And again, I'm not doing the one in your packet. I'm doing a practice one that's like it. And then cosine of this one is 1 over root 2. And then minus sine of beta, which is 1 over 2. And sine of theta, which is 1 over root 2. So my final answer for the practice problem I gave you is root 3 minus 1 all over 2 root 2. And that's how we typically have you leave the answer on the test. Wouldn't want you to go get decimals for that. It's less accurate. Okay, so your problem, I know, slightly different. But at the end, you're going to find cosine, cosine, sine, sine, or something like that off the sheet. And then you're going to do it off of your triangles. There's a lot of circle trig in this. Remember I said circle trig is the most important chapter? Truth. Okay. Any other questions you'd like to talk about? Nominate one last question, how about? Okay, I can tell you guys are burned out. I'm not going to make you ask me more questions. But tomorrow, it's fair game to ask me questions about this first page. And then also, you can ask me questions about the second page tomorrow. But today, would you finish just trying to do a really good job with the first page? And I'm not posting the key yet. I will probably post the key over the weekend. So for right now, just do your best without a key. Ask friends, get help. And we're trying to work through this packet and be really good at the packet, because that'll make you really good for the final. All right, that's all I have for the video for today.